Hey guys, what's going on? So we now have the big control point. We will be defending it at all times. This is the number one priority of the team, is holding this map in this zone, making sure everybody knows when they land in here they will be hit. This is a Delta zone. We're also going to be learning how to coordinate a defense properly. To start with, we need to make sure everyone has full cooldown tokens plus their daily crates available in the store at all times. From now on, being low on tokens is not an excuse to missing a wave. Everyone on the team needs to have 2,500 tokens at all times, plus the small and large crates in the store, ready for defending. Large crates contain 800 cooldown tokens, and the small crate has 200, meaning someone with full tokens plus crates has almost 1 hour and 30 minutes worth of extra cooldown tokens they can use. On top of this, we need people to only be using their defensive buffs during planned big wars and big defensive wars. Make sure you have a few attack buffs saved, probably 3, the rest you can play with. We also need more Discord activity and communications on War Ops and Zone Defending channel that was set up. Even if it's just people checking in and making sure nothing's going on. We need people to be aware that when we are under attack and when we're deploying for war and when sudden death begins, so make sure y'all are checking Discord. Make sure you pay attention. There'll be a list posted for every war when people know they can defeat that base during the defensive wave. We'll, make a list for that. Make sure everybody follows that. You're not hitting somebody that's, you're not even sure if you can beat, and someone's for sure they can one-shot them or whatever. Put your name on the list. It definitely helps. Everyone, if you're not confident that you can remove someone that's not on the list, offer services to remove fobs or block, whatever we got to do, for anybody else who is hitting a hard target. Once you see at war in the game and you get a notification, make sure you check the team Discord, activate your cooldown buff, and deploy on the right side of the control point as shown below. So our initial wave, we will drop in right here. When you move to the edge, you must pay attention to the time left before sudden death. Make sure when you move here, you can eliminate your entire cooldown before sudden death starts. If you arrive late for the first wave, deploy as close as possible to the zone before the start of wave 2. The reason we want people with no cooldown tokens when we all jump together is that when you are shifted from there is no cooldown added. The cooldown you have when you land is the cooldown you got from jumping into the zone initially. So if you only jump 1 or 2 hexes, you're going to have no cooldown when you're shifted, and you can move closer to the control point for the next wave. If you jump 60 hexes, so if you were to jump in right here, you would have no cooldown when you were shifted. But if you jump way down here to this side, you now have a 45-minute or longer cooldown as opposed to no cooldown. You have completely cost yourself a wave doing that, okay? So that's very, very important to make sure that you're jumping in the zone with minimal cooldown, so when you're shifted, you do not have it. We always need people to jump as short as possible. Build your defense around that. In the image below, everyone jumping in would have no cooldown or just a few minutes after being shifted. The reason we want everybody deploying to the right side of the zone is because you are almost always thrown to the southwest of the zone. So if we are all deployed on the northeast, we will land very close to the control point southwest as the image shown below. So we're all here initially on the edges. We jump in, we land there. Once we're shifted, we land right here. We have no cooldown when we land, and we now have no cooldown to get back in our zone for wave 2. This gives us very little distance to move at all for wave 2, meaning we can return all together very fast and coordinate wave 2 like below. Now understand, when you're down here, once you're shifted, stay in your bubble. Do not come out. If an enemy jumps in here and shifts you, if that happens, if an enemy jumps in here and shifts you, okay, you are going to be thrown all the way to the other side of the map, down to the far southwest. And you're going to have a massive cooldown. So make sure you don't pop your bubble when you're in there. So we're all now been shifted from up here. We land down here. We're waiting in our bubbles. On wave 2, we jump in. No cooldown again. For this reason, that during wave 1, when we deploy to the northeast side of the control point, we want to target the enemies in the southwest side of the control point. So when we all land in initially during our first attack here, we are clearing this part of the control point for further use. That's important. Make sure we're all clearing this end during our first initial wave. If we do this, every wave we are returning, we will have no bases behind us hitting from behind, and we have less distance to travel when we actually return. After the second wave, we should deploy into the control point like so. So we've now been shifted, boom, down here. If you land in the control point, do not pop your bubble again. This time, we will be bounced a lot further, all the way out. Meaning we have the distance to cover before wave 3. We normally have 45 minutes or so between waves 2 and 3. This will give us time to move back closer to the control point together as a team. However, it's very important when we move, we avoid the control point to the southwest of the war zone. If they catch you in there without a bubble, unbubbled, you're going to bounce. If you get shifted, you're going to be crazy cooldown. You'll miss 3 waves because of that. So when we move back after being shifted on wave 2, we move back to these locations here in Republic Square and down here in Hunting Grounds. For wave 3, we should all be synchronized and moving back into the zone together, covering a short distance again, giving yourself little to no cooldown as you jump in and land on that edge. We will be shifted again to the areas in the same general area, and so we repeat the process for wave 4, in which we have another 45 minutes or so before, in between wave 3 and 4. So on wave 4, boom, we're shifted out. Same repeat for 4. If we all follow these rules and work together, we will have a formidable defense. War should be over by this point or earlier, but as a last resort, wave 5 can consist of anybody who has, had missed the waves or messed up their order, or anybody who has multiple waves left because they weren't available. That's the last push on wave 5. We need everyone to read and understand this, leave a reaction to make sure, or a reaction to the video, either or. If you have any questions, make sure you ask. Defensive activity and Discord activity is being monitored very closely for the good of the players and the team. Understand this is a competitive and active team. We will be fighting, actively defending at all times. If that's too much competition, that's fine. We'll be maxing out another tech tree in a order hopefully soon. We're going to have a less competitive side for people to, kind of kick back and relax, and then we'll have Delta for the people who are ready to smash every day. So make sure everybody is on touch with this and tune. Make sure everybody's following it, and no one can beat us, guys. If we all show up and we all follow this 4 times coming back, that's 200 of us versus 50 of them at max. They can't win. It's impossible. So make sure we're active and we're showing up. I know it sucks. Sometimes we got to interrupt real life, take a bathroom break, set an alarm, piss the old lady off, whatever it takes. Let's get in there and fight as a team. In between waves, if you are very aggressive, beings that we have 45 minutes in between waves 2 and 3 and 3 and 4 and 4 and 5, you can change your base defense to other strong formats to throw the enemy off, okay? It's a very good idea to keep it active and aggressive. So let's get on tune with this. Make sure you leave reaction. Let's kick ass.